Welcome to Power Moves, a podcast for people building something extraordinary and looking to make the moves that actually change their lives and businesses. I'm your host, Alex Edwards, entrepreneur, consultant, father of four, and someone obsessed with helping people turn big vision into real world execution. We created this podcast because we got tired of surface level conversations, podcasts that merely motivated and inspired. But once the podcast was over, action died out. We're all about real conversations and what it actually takes to build something meaningful and talk about practical things that you can do from each episode. On this show, we're not going to just talk about what the person did. We're going to break out how they did it. What were the mindset shifts, the strategies, the failures, the systems, and the turning points behind the success? So whether you're building a business, scaling a brand, leading a team, or chasing a bigger vision for your life, you're in the right place. So let's get into it. Hi, Jorge.
Hey, how are you, Alex?
Good to have you here. So you are the founder and operator of Urban Pups, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, I know that this can be one of the most demanding industries that there is, caring for people's pets. There have been apps that have been made for it. There have been people that put up flyers all over their city to get a book of business going. So I'd love to really learn more about how this began for you in your story.
Yeah, so I started when I was 19. I was working at a law office. I was working various jobs, right? I was working at a law office, 9 to 5, and then 6 to 11 at Trader Joe's.
Wow.
And yeah, yeah, I was doing that a few days a week. You're 19, so I was able to do it back then.
Sure.
Um, and I think while I was working at the law office, there was a lot of free time. There's a lot of free time. So my cat, he likes to scratch my
So it's not
nice
just
sofa.
dogs. We have
Yeah,
cats
I
too.
mean, I have a cat too. Um, and I think I had a lot of free time, and I would kind of like search what I can do with dogs because I already knew at that moment I wanted to work with dogs, just didn't
Mm,
know how. And I think I searched gigs or something I could do, right? And this was back in 2000 and 2000 and was it 2010, right? Yeah, 2010. And I saw dog walking, and then that's
mm,
where like, oh, I could do this, right? So while you're answering, emails or people coming to look for assistance with the law office, I came up with the name Strut Your Pup because strut was another word for walk and pup was another name for dog. So then I just like, okay, let's not name it walk your dog. Let's make it a little different.
mm.
And that's how I got that. And then I remember, I got the website, everything. I got all those things, business cards. And that's how I got started. I didn't really get my
Mm.
first client till like probably a couple of years after that. Uh,
Really?
yeah. While I was
Wow.
doing, I, I tend to always be a type of person who juggles a lot of things. And during that
Hmm.
time, not only was I doing two jobs, but I was going to college full time. And so then I'm like, I'm starting, I'm starting a
Wow.
business, going to college, working two jobs, trying to have a social life. So it was just a lot of things happening. So I
Wow.
think at 19, it was a great idea, but I didn't take it serious at 19. So like, yeah, I
Mm.
got the website, I got the cards and all those things, but I didn't I don't think I worked in the business, right? I should have been actively marketing or actively maybe answering those what's it called leads when people would try to request a service or wanted something and maybe answer them much faster. And sometimes I
Mm.
probably couldn't. Maybe I wasn't in a class or I was doing something else. I don't know.
Mm.
And I remember I got my first. It was the first cat was the first client. They only hired me once for a few days, and then that's it. I never heard from them ever again. But that was like probably a few years, I remember,
Wait,
after I started college.
were you walking their cat or were you just sitting
No,
for the cat?
I believe they went away and they want someone to come over and just, feed the cat, clean the litter box, spend some time with the cat.
Mm,
A couple of visits for, I'm not sure if it was a couple of times a week or I can't remember, but
okay.
that's what that was. And usually that's what you do for cats, right? You spend some time with them. I've never
Yeah.
walked a cat up until this point. Besides my own, I did walk him once, but I don't.
Never again.
But that's how I got started. You want me to
So
elaborate a
you
little bit more?
so
Or?
you had the idea when you were 19, and
Yeah.
then how old were you when like you got your first client?
So, I mean, I probably got it where I would say I took it serious and it blew up when I was 24.
Mm,
So, between that time, a lot of
hmm
other things I think took priority or I finished. I mean, I finished college. So, in between that time, I did have a few clients. Uh,
hmm
I can't say for sure when the first one was. I know that first one was that cat I mentioned, but that
hmm
was probably maybe early 20s, maybe 21, a few years after I was 19. Yeah.
Got it. So you were working two jobs from basically morning until night,
Yeah.
law office, Trader Joe's. You're also going to college. What were you going to college for?
So I was going for biology, a bachelor of science in biology, because I wanted to be a veterinarian. That's
Mm,
the first step. And I was going for political science because I wanted to be a lawyer as well too. I hadn't made my decision in college yet, so
got it. Okay.
I haven't done any of them either. I haven't used those degrees, which is
Got it.
fun, but more interesting, I guess.
Yeah. Funny how that ends up working out. And so you essentially finish college and now you do this business full time.
Yeah, full time. This is all I do.
That's amazing. So, yeah, I'm curious, besides the obvious, why was it you had to work two jobs while also going through college? If you don't mind sharing about that.
Well, I had to work two jobs. Well, I think my mindset at that time was I wanted to make enough because I was paying for my college, right? So I was first going to this college in Caldwell and I had a scholarship. But even with the scholarship, it was still a lot. I think at that time it
Mm,
was like 10 or 15 grand still a semester.
mm,
And so I transferred to another college. So I start, NJCU, and I was able to afford to pay that one. So I think the main uh, purpose for me to work two jobs, was I wanted to make money.
hmm
And the only way I knew how to make money was, well, I work for someone and I get paid for it.
hmm
So that's why I was like, okay, well, I need more than one job. So that's how I get more money. I think throughout that journey up until now, I've learned there's other ways to make money. And I think I learned it when I was working those jobs, or I was trading my time for the wage. And man, I was exhausted. Like,
hmm
yeah, when you're 19, yeah, but even now, I'm 35. So I was like, wow, like, you just had a lot of energy that you just, who knows where, it's coming from. So like,
Sure.
I just like, I need to find a better way, right? It's always the brain or the mind thinking like, how can I make more money, but I don't have to kill myself to get there. So I think that was the reason why I've always just wanted to make more. And that's why I was working more jobs so I could pay for stuff and then have some money left over to go out or, hang out with friends, I think at that time.
Got it. And did you like always know you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
No, no, definitely not. At that time, I was focused on you go to college. I remember back in grammar school and high school, they really push you to apply for college and they pushed you like, you got to go to college, right?
Hmm
So, I went to college because that's the next step. And then
Mm.
I went to college. So I think throughout that time, it was just like, okay, you go to college, then you get your career and you're set. I think that the gears started to turn where I started to really take it serious. And I think that's when I realized, like, oh, there's other ways to make money. Like, I think at that moment, I didn't consider myself an entrepreneur. It was just a gig, right? Yeah, I had the website. Yeah, I had but I'm just walking dogs. Like, I'm just visiting cats or pets. It was something to give me extra money in my pocket. It's when I really took it serious at 24. And I even took it serious uh, because I was going to go to college still. I was going to go to college in another country because I still was wanted to be a vet, right?
Mm.
At 24, I still had the thought process of like, oh, I need to go finish the career and the plan I had. And I was going to go, my family's Colombian, so I was going to go to Colombia. And I was
Mm.
going to go there to study veterinary medicine because it was just really expensive to study here in the States. It's like a quarter
Mm.
million, not sure how much, but I'm sure it's up there. And I'm always finding a way of how I can make it cost effective. So I was going to go study over there.
Mm.
So I actually went over there to look at the universities. And then I came back, and that's when I took it serious because I still had my business, I had a few clients. And I said, you know what? I'm going to leave my jobs. I'm going to focus on my business 100% so I could save that money to then pay for college in Colombia.
Mm.
And in doing so, that's when my business really exploded. And I'm like, and like within like 6 months or whatever, I remember it was like 50 grand. And I was like, oh, wait, I think I could make a life living out of this. Do I really need to go to school to work with dogs? I mean, I'm doing it now. And then, that was
You made 50 grand in your first 6 months of really treating it seriously.
in treating it serious. I remember it
Wow.
was like 50 or 60 grand. And it was like half the year because I remember I went in the summer to go to Colombia to see the colleges. And I
Hmm.
came back like sometime in August, September, and then by the end of the year, I was like, wait a minute, like I'm making money and like way more than a wage job. So
Yeah, seriously.
so yeah, I mean that's when I think I made a decision. I'm like, oh, you can do this. Like you could do this, you know?
Wow. That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
You achieved something that most people would trade to have, going from their 9 to 5, where they're making maybe $4,000 a month at best. You're doing over 2x that per month, working for yourself, doing something that you love. That's huge. Now, when you went all in on this business, are you saying that you just completely ended off the two jobs you had and went 100% into this with like just a few clients? Describe like what place you were at in your business before ending off that 9 to 5.
So at that time was when I ended my job, I wasn't working the two jobs anymore. I
Mm.
think it wasn't sustainable. I think I left those jobs. Um, well, at Trader Joe's, I was there almost 3 years, but I left that one, and then the law office left me. They let me go. Uh, and so I was actually with no job, and I'm like, and this was like still when I was in college. And then
Mm.
between that point and the point to where I decided to just go full course on my business, I worked at Macy's, and then at that moment when I decided to go to school, I was working at a clinic. So I was
Mm.
still because my mindset was still like I need to figure out am I going to be a vet? So like I need to know, do I want to be a vet? I mean, work where vets. I
Hmm.
worked at the clinic a year, so I left that. Um, And that one I was working full time because I already graduated college. And I was just working that job after college. And I left that and then I went full on into the business. At that moment, we had like maybe 4 or 5 dogs that we were walking every day. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm right off of New York, so I'm in this town, which is very creative name. It's called very creative name. It's called West New York.
Hmm.
So we're right
Wonder
in
where
West
that
New
could
York.
be.
Yeah. And then that's like most of the dogs I was walking at the beginning were in Jersey City, which is like half
Hmm.
hour away. Sometimes with traffic, maybe an hour. But at that moment, it was just more like any client we get, I'm gonna take it. And
Hmm.
I was able to hold on to those clients because my father was helping me. He was retired. He was
Hmm.
walking those dogs every day while I was working at the clinic or finishing college, right? He maintained those clientele, right? I was more like the office guy and helped them when I could. So when I came back, I had those five clients that would probably be bringing me in like maybe 2K a month. And I told my dad, okay, I'm going to walk all of them now. So I wasn't paying him anymore. So now I could keep more of I was bringing. And it just built from there.
Wow. So when you got into really rolling with the business, were there any challenges or were you able to scoop up clients pretty easily and just ramp up?
You know, the yeah, I mean, there were challenges, but I think the challenges came a little later. I think at the beginning, what helped me, I think, scale was dogs really give you. So dogs have given me confidence, but the great thing what dogs do is you're walking them, right? And what do? They want to say hi to everybody who's comes to them. Not every dog, but most dogs are like, oh, and people are like, oh my God, so cute.
Hmm.
And you immediately, the salesperson George would immediately like, oh, you have a dog too. I'm like, oh, I'm a dog walker. And you have a conversation, and word of mouth is what really I
Hmm.
think uh, catapulted this fast
Hmm.
because someone's like, oh yeah, I met this guy, young guy, very nice, right? Whether or not he or she became a client, that person I met, uh, they left with a nice thought in their mind, like,
Hmm.
oh, this nice person, right?
Hmm.
And I think, a lot of places that walk dogs have concierge, you leave a card. And then just people, the concierge, like, hey, you make friends with them. Hey, yeah, I gave this card to this person, right? And every time I met someone or a new client or whatever, I would tell them maybe after a few visits or service, if you have someone, can you recommend me?
Hmm.
And I think that's what really just because I wasn't paying like Google or Yelp or any of those things. I wasn't really advertising. It was just me and kind of just like, hey, help me out and just
Sure.
talking to people when you see them.
I mean, word of mouth and them seeing you as a real person, that's the best marketing it is. Them seeing you with the dogs themselves, it's a brilliant way to attract new clients. And it's one that builds your brand at the same time. So hugely valuable.
And free
You're
too.
mentioning that the challenges really came later. So I'm curious what those challenges were and how you
Oh,
overcame them.
uh, the biggest challenge was I got to a point where I was walking dogs like 8 in the morning to 8 at night, right? Because at that growth
Walk in the
phase,
park for you.
I'm sorry.
Walk in the park for you.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
I remember I was like, I got to a point where, at that growth phase, right, when I already saw that 10 clients were bringing me this much. I'm like, oh my God, just got to get more. And I'm a very type of person, I have a mentality of, this person has this problem. Let's do it. We'll figure it out along the way, right?
Hmm.
I'm like, somebody be like, no, we can't do it. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out, right? So it got to a point where I was walking like 8 to 8 p.m. And it's like, you start to think, I'm like, man, like I left those jobs so that I wouldn't work so much. And now I'm working crazy. Yeah, I'm making more
Hmm.
money, but like I'm getting to be exhausted again. So then you
Sure.
start to think, how do I solve this? biggest challenge was how do I hire someone? I need to hire someone. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
it was just such a daunting task because I'm like, oh my God, there's payroll and you got to pay taxes and all these things. And it just felt like such a hill I had to push myself to do. Uh, and that was a real challenge. And, I think also was just like trusting someone, like to do it just as good as you, right? You're going
Mm-hmm.
into someone's house and oh my god, what happens if they steal something, or what happens if like they steal a dog, or
Wow.
or and those days have not the stealing of the dog but the not showing up part.
Yeah.
uh and but I think I just pushed myself because what else can I do, and I pushed myself and I hired that first person.
Mm.
And I've hired probably if not close to 100 people by now. So I think that was at the beginning was such a like, oh my god, how do I do this? And and just pushing yourself to do it.
Sure. So was the challenge more in getting yourself set up, just like trying to understand the paperwork system, the different things you had to put together to hire someone? Was it choosing the right person? What was the most
I
difficult
think it was
part of it for you?
releasing. Sorry, I think it was releasing control.
Oh,
Me,
okay.
yeah, it was a personal thing because I mean, now that I look at it, I mean, it's not like not rocket science like the paperwork or hiring someone,
Sure.
but it was letting go of like you aren't going to do this. You're going to pay someone to do it, and
Mm-hmm.
you are going to you're going to manage them. I've never been a manager, and then pay, and then you're going to make sure they do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was just a me thing of like,
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of trust. And I think one of my biggest fears, like, oh my God, if this dog gets loose and they lose a dog, and that's happened. Um,
Where
uh,
the dog got lost?
the dog, we were walking the dog and the dog got out of its collar and
Yeah.
bolted. It's only happened once.
Did
Uh,
we get the dog back?
we did get the dog back. It's
That's good.
crazy because it was just one dog who was a hound mix. The owner actually found the dog during like a 4th of July fireworks. So she was also like found because she ran from wherever she was. She was a runner, I guess.
Wow.
And like 2 or 3 times she did that with me. And every time I thought we got a system down. And one time I remember I was running after her. I can't believe I wasn't even keeping up with her. And I got her back that time. And then another time she tried, but I'm like, it's not happening again this time. And I grabbed her leg and we struggled, but she didn't try. She didn't get loose. And another time was when I was training a new employee. She got impatient that I guess I was talking to her and trying to tell her. And in that moment, I think I was even telling her, you got to watch out with this dog because she just got out.
Oh, wow.
And that was the third time. And the owner was so understanding. I think that's what made it easier because she just knew how her dog
Sure.
was. And they found her, I think, like the police found her like a few blocks down. I didn't find her, and it was like later in the evening. Uh, but yeah, just it still was very like, what's it called? Nerve wracking. You're like, oh my God,
Sure.
like, and yeah, but yeah, that,
Wow.
yeah.
So you can obviously understand with hiring and train people and obviously releasing control. I've done that multiple times in my business, and I've also had to steer a lot of other business owners through that process. You mentioned you went through like around 100 hires. Were they all dog walkers or were they different roles too?
Uh, I say 100 because, well, now if I, what 20, I was 24 10 years ago. Now it's a bigger operation, right? I mean, I currently have 10 employees that are on staff. And within the last 10 years of we do dog and daycare now. So now the focus is so much dog walk. It's one of the reasons
Mm,
why I changed the name to Urban Pup
mm,
instead of with Australia Pup. because I
Mm-hmm.
used to walk like 40, 50 dogs a day.
Wow.
Yeah. But now we walk maybe 5 or 10. The
Wow.
business has shifted to doggy daycare, boarding,
Yeah.
training, grooming. So those require a lot more people. Obviously, we have a big space.
Right.
So that's why I say I've hired more people because throughout that time I've hired more dog walkers or
Yeah.
more people to work at the business or a receptionist. I've actually hired a manager now.
Oh,
So
wow. Good for you,
yeah,
man. That's
well, yeah,
great.
I think every step of the way I need to reclaim my time.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been a struggle, which is what's the struggle? Letting go. It's been a
Mm.
personal struggle for me. It's letting go. Because then you get to a point where you're just like micromanaging every moment. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm where I'm trying to work with myself, which is, nobody's gonna do it exactly like you because they're not the owner.
Mm-hmm.
They do it 90% as good, and you live with it. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where I'm at.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Have you just been learning about leadership on the job, or did you study anything? Did you invest in any coaching for yourself as a business owner?
Before I uh, before I hired that person, I looked. I think at that time, I think the internet, we were still on dial-up, or I remember, whole thing coming up, taking a while. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure somebody has had to do this. Like, I'm not the first person who's had to hire someone for a dog walking business.
Sure.
So I think that was my mindset. And I found this lady Kristen Morrison. She's actually in California too. I'm not sure
Mm.
where, but and she built I guess she had built a dog walking business. And, thinking about it now, like she did it when, we don't have softwares to manage people and manage systems. It was all pen and paper. So she had a big dog walking business, like two managers, like 20 dog walkers. And I'm like, oh, I want to be her. I want to do what
Wow.
she did. And now she was just like more coaching people. So I bought
Mm.
a book, Six Figure Pet Sitting Business, I think it was called. And I read it, and I think I did coaching sessions for her. And she's
Wow.
the one that like was like, when you see someone else do it, like, oh, she really made it easy for you. I'm like, this is what you do when you hire someone, and like steps A through B or A through
Mm.
nine, one through
It was
five.
so simple. It was just A to B.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's the person that like, oh, she did it, I could do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was way before I even had the doggy daycare now, right?
Yeah.
I think everything now has been more of you see a lot of things on social media. I'm not the biggest fan of social media, but you see a lot of things. Some of them I guess are good. And you hear
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the things that I may reiterate them like, you know, about like reclaiming your time or
Mm-hmm.
how to manage people, and that's kind of where I get some of the information from. I've also had coaching sessions with Kristen from time to time.
Nice. And just curious, when you were doing the dog walking fully, so you mentioned you were like walking 40 to 50 dogs a day
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
What was your peak? Like, what was the best month or best year you made in terms of revenue? And how does that compare to now on the doggy daycare model?
Uh, so, well, you mean like how much did I make when I was just doing dog walking compared to now?
Yeah, I'm curious how that business model compared to this.
So the best one of the I think back when we were just doing dog walking, pet sitting, and I was doing a little bit of boarding, and eventually became where I like had a few dogs in my house, right? I would take care of them, maybe two, three. I think maybe best months, I can't remember because that was a while ago, but maybe I think there was one month we almost made 19K a month, right?
Oh wow.
And it was usually around there. I would say usually the months were like 15K, let's say average,
Mm-hmm.
probably a little bit more. Uh, now the average is 60K a month. Now,
Really? Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
now, but we're doing a lot more. I mean, we are doing doggy daycare, boarding. We also
Yeah.
do veterinarian grooming. Uh, they're two different businesses. I mean, yeah, they're both involve dogs, but I think with the dog walking, there's a lot less overhead because you're going to your business, right? You're going to each client's house.
Right.
And I remember probably 2 or 3 years. I only did it for 2 or 3 years, the dog walking, and I got to the same mindset of like, okay, um, I want people to come to me because I want to reclaim my time. I was working still like maybe 9 to 5, and I had like 4 dog walkers, and I think they were selling the doggy daycare that I'm at. Well, I don't think they were, and I bought it, and then that made business much more streamlined because people came to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the best year at the doggy daycare was one year, it was right after COVID. Because I remember I started this business. I bought dog daycare like 2019. And I think COVID hit 2020, right? Or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah. It was crazy. It was my
We're
first time.
starting to forget.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was crazy because I'm like, of course, I was so scared because you had rent now. I never had rent
Right.
and COVID hit. And business was really down. But I think as after we sort of got out of COVID, I think 2022 or 2021, that was the best year. We made 900 and like something a year.
Wow.
Uh, Compared to now, it's less. Like we haven't been able to get to that point.
Mm.
And I'm hoping we will because
Mm-hmm.
uh, we're moving. We got a new name. We're renovating a whole new space. So I
Nice, man.
think, yeah, I think we can. At least my goal is let's replicate it. Or, let's get to the 1 mil.
Sure.
Um, but it's a work in progress. Like right now, I'm kind of just like we have to move and working towards it and
Sure.
getting out of where we are.
What drives you to keep like building the business out as much as you have? Because, the dog walking 19K a month, a lot of people would be happy with just that, but you've obviously pushed it up to 60,000. And granted, you have more overhead, so I know that's not all profit for you. But I guess what continues to drive you to grow the business versus maybe just keeping it at a certain size and maintaining it?
You know, um, it's a struggle I think I've always had with myself, right? Or maybe it's a human condition, but I say it because you always want more, right? Right? You always want more. But now as I think as you get older, or maybe it's just me, but for me, you start to value more of your like peace and your own time. Like it's not that more is always better. Because you get more and more, but that will bring its own problems, its own issues. And sometimes I've noticed that sometimes I just want a day where nobody calls me with a problem, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think of why I do it is I do enjoy like my life being surrounded with dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And, I may not be seeing money now because we're moving and I'm paying rent for 2 places, but I always tell myself, at least I'm able to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's always looking inward. How can I improve? And I think that's just the drive I have, like never being content, right? So you do it this way, it's great. How can we do it better? And
Sure.
that's always or it's always been my mindset. Uh, and that's just a personal drive of like, we do it. And then again, it works for me. I'm not sure it works for other people because I've driven some people a little nutty with all my
Hmm.
and plans and yeah. But I will sum it up that I work well in a chaotic, um,
Under pressure.
yeah, under pressure. Compared to some people who just don't
Sure.
like, they just like no. And for me, under pressure, wow, things just start like snapping into place. The neurons are firing in my head.
Sure.
You know,
Well, for some people, pressure makes diamonds.
yeah, yeah.
Now, before we got on this episode, you had shared with me that one of the things you want to talk about, one of your life lessons was how you had gone viral on TikTok for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
So tell
Yeah.
me more about what happened there.
Oh yeah. This was during that year that the most profitable year. Uh, you know, I think so. I'll start off. I think that year I've learned that yes, when you're in a growth phase, you want every dog, you want every client because just the more, right? The business model is the more dogs, the better.
Mm,
But I think I've learned now that not every dog may be right for your business or not every client. And actually in this story, it's the client. Not every client is the right client for your business. Not every client, you don't have to have every client. Like,
mm,
you know, it's okay to say no. It's okay to may not to not be to maybe disappoint that person. And it's because, in the dog daycare, we have to make sure we're aware of the dog's behavior, right? So that they get along, that we know that the dog is a good fit because we don't want a dog who's going to be problematic, right? We're not going to want a dog who wants to be starting fights or doesn't like to be bumped into or doesn't like other dogs, and then it's an issue, right? It becomes a dog fight, and then I see the dogs get injured or we can get injured. So long story short, we had a dog fight, and it was actually a new dog, which showed signs that he was fine the first time, and excuse me, and that time he just didn't like that specific dog. Um, I also learned in that moment of uh, hiring the right person as well too, because the person then they kind of freaked out.
mm,
That's like the worst thing to do in a dog fight, right? Like like yes, it is a very you know powerful experience, but you're supposed to remain calm and collected so that you can help you know dissolve this the situation. And well, that didn't happen at all. The person just
mm,
freaked out, and so thankfully both dogs made it. It was, but what I went viral was the owner. So this was a pit bull. Okay, pit bull. The dog do worse things than pit bulls, but it was a pit bull, unfortunately, and a Samoyed. And the pit bull just went after the Samoyed. And, thankfully, the team. I wasn't even there that day. I was just not on site. And
mm.
but the team, the other people who didn't stay calm, they went in, separated them, and the people was the aggressor. He just felt threatened by this dog, or just wanted. Dogs do right. Every dogs always have a reason for doing stuff, whether we see it or not. They always
Sure.
communicate. So he had his reasons, and he didn't have a lot of injuries because he was the one who attacked the Samoyed, and he had a couple of scratches in his face because the dog scratched them. The Samoyed, he there. those big fluffy white dogs. So like we
Mm.
didn't see any injuries. We're like, oh my God, this dog's big puffy hair saved him. Uh, so then the pit bull's owner was just really upset about the whole thing, and she just started posting. Uh, well, she first wanted us to show her the security camera, and
Mm.
I at first wanted to kind of like that whole day because we never had a dog fight like that or at all.
Mm.
So I wanted to talk to the staff. I wanted to watch the video first. I wanted kind of to get
Sure.
knowledge before I'm like, okay, just here, watch it. And she was just very not as understanding as like the other owner, right? Where she understood her dog liked to run away. She was just very demanding, very
This was the owner of the pit bull.
of the pit bull. Yeah, she was just
Uh,
very uncompromising. And she just got to a point like, if you don't send me the video, I don't know what she was gonna do. I think she was gonna post a bad review. And at that moment, like I was very still working on my business. I think we were just coming out of COVID. So I remember during that time, it was tough to hire people because nobody was looking for work because they were, I don't know the reason, but I think one of the reasons was they were still getting more money from the government
sure.
defense, you know? So it was really tough. I wasn't able to hire many people or many people weren't applying. So I was
Yeah, I
just,
remember that
yeah,
year very well.
yeah. I remember I was working a lot. Like I was doing a lot of things to make things just keep going because we were getting busy because people were still not, people had a lot of pent up demand where they wanted to travel. Everybody was leaving, but like I needed people, but nobody wanted to work. So I remember, I don't know, I was just dropping off dogs because we do transport. And then I see like the reviews on like Yelp and Google, but like usually you get one, but this was like dozens were coming in, dozens, like hundreds. I think we went from 50 reviews to like 3,000 on Google, and then like 10 on Yelp to like I don't know, it was like a 500 on Yelp. So it was just crazy. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I saw it was just like people like just bad mouthing, saying negative things. Man, when I don't know if you ever had a feeling, but like I just went all cold and like all like just nervous. As,
Wow.
yeah, because I'm like, oh my God, what? Ugh. And then I knew it was this lady. She was upset because I hadn't shown her the video. But I maybe learned, maybe I should have prioritized that. But like I was just really just in my mindset, I'm like, okay, we'll get to it. Like the dogs are safe. Think
Mm-hmm.
no major injuries. Like I'll get to it. Like I was just focused on my business. Like I'll do it this weekend. I felt like that was my mindset.
Mm.
And I remember that happened on a Friday, and it's because she posted a TikTok video, and then I guess it went. People would comment, and then they eventually like, oh, tell us the name of the place, and she said it, and
Mm.
and it went viral because it got like millions of hits, and then people, I guess, take those videos and then they make their videos from it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that then pushed it even further because then there were like dog influencers taking it and doing a little sketch about it or whatever. And I remember our phones were blowing up because people were just calling nonstop. And me being like distraught, I called him like, I don't understand why you're doing this. Like, whatever. She didn't want to reason with me. And then I would argue with people from like all over. Like there were people from Australia, people from I remember
Wow.
Europe, Canada calling us, and I'm there like, you don't even know that her dog started it. Did you even know that? No, I didn't. So I'm like, why are you? And then why are you?
Wow.
Think you were the bad person? It was just crazy. It was the internet, and that was my first
Sure.
experience with the internet. Like, just people don't get the full story, right?
Right.
And I was arguing with them. We disconnected the phones because we were just getting nonstop calls, like people threatening and whatever. Like, we're gonna come in there and burn, the whole most horrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, we resolved it with the lady. She came by Sunday. I showed her the video, and I remember she wanted to do like a follow up video because she had posted so many follow ups. But she just noticed that she was getting a lot of traction and a lot of like attention. So she wanted to post a
Yeah.
follow up video with me that we resolved the problem. But I just wanted it to be over. I didn't even eat
Sure.
that weekend. I was
Wow.
anxiety. I was anxious, like to the brim. I didn't eat that whole weekend. I thought my business was over. I'm like, oh my God, all these negative reviews.
Right.
And I remember I just emailed her back. I'm like, look, I showed you the video. You saw that. Because she thought we had like hit her dog. And I'm like, we didn't, you know,
Right.
we separated them and your dog has injuries because of the other dog, you know?
Right.
And he had some black and blue bruising because we held him up so that we could try to get him to let go. So yeah, he did have some human bruising, but it wasn't us from us hitting him. It was just we were holding him
Sure.
for a few minutes really hard to try to get him off.
Right.
Um, and I'm like, look, we solved this. I remember I ended it with her and I said, look, I don't want to do anything with you. Just leave us alone. If you don't, then I'm going to sue you for defamation. And I also
Hmm.
want to take down all the videos, which she did.
Wow.
And
That's great, man.
yeah, yeah, she took them all down and she ended it. And I remember then I reached out to the Googles and the Yelps, and they took them all down because they noticed that it wasn't like a genuine review.
Hmm.
And I think the biggest lesson from that experience was life goes on, and,
Yeah.
I'm still here. So I thought it was over, but
Hmm.
yeah, no, it was definitely an experience, but yeah, life goes on, and it'll be okay.
If you could go back and change anything about how you handled that, would you do anything differently?
I can change it but if I could, I think I did the best I can in that
Hmm.
situation. At least I tried to, right? Do the best I can in any situation. Maybe I should have shown her the video sooner. Um, but I don't know if that would have changed the outcome. I think the client just took it to some other level and then she started to notice and she liked the attention and the
Hmm.
notoriety that she was getting from the situation,
Hmm.
but it was at the expense of my business, like the expense of my well-being,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that would have changed it, but I think it went down the way it was supposed to, and yeah. So I think it went fine.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I would love to throw some rapid fire questions at you as we come to a close.
Oh, sure.
So, what would you say is the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make early on?
I think it's giving up, right? I
Mm,
mean, it's hard. Like, I don't think anybody wants to work 8 to 8 every day and like come
right.
home and answer emails, like and answer like voicemails. But if you really want it, don't give up. That's the biggest mistake. People give up, or maybe it's too hard.
Hmm.
But if you don't give up, then you will never reach whatever potential there was there.
Right. One thing every small business owner should obsess over.
I think they should obsess over quality, right? Making sure that you're offering the best product or service that you can, because then it'll speak for itself.
Yeah. Is there something that you like was the best investment you made in yourself or the business?
Best investment was, I would say, it was what I mentioned before. Buying that book and
Hmm.
reading on how someone just did what I wanted to do. Like
Mm,
I think I learned you don't have to have all the answers, right? And you don't need to know everything. And it's even easier now. Like you could go on YouTube and somebody's going to teach you how to do something. You know, uh, I don't think back then. I think YouTube was getting started.
mm.
So I think buying that book from that entrepreneur and her telling me how she did it really gave me the confidence and the knowledge to be like, okay, let's do it.
And what are you most excited about building next?
So I'm excited about. Uh, I think we didn't get to talk about it, but I'm also getting like another location. So I'm excited because I'm not only moving, I'm getting a new place, new brand,
Well,
but I'm getting this other location, which is like a little 8 acre farm. And the reason why we were calling this one Urban Pups, we're going to call that one Country Pups.
oh wow.
Names match their destinations. And I'm excited to really get to the point where they're both open and running and to see if I'm able to manage more than one thing. Because again,
Wow.
control has always been a big issue for me of letting go. And
Hmm.
I'm going to have to let go to a certain degree because I cannot be in two places at once.
Right.
So I'm excited not only for that personal development part of
Yeah.
me for myself, but just to see that, like, oh my God, like I got two functioning businesses and it's happening. It's like we're doing it, you know.
Yeah.
So that's
Now,
that's
what I love that I see as kind of a common thread is you force yourself to take the next step
mm,
versus wondering whether or not you're ready or trying to like baby step it. You're just like, what's the next level? Make the commitment, take the actions after.
yeah, yeah. I've done that. You know, I think it's thrilling because you take the risk and it's like, oh my God, is it gonna work out? But then it's like, because I work well under pressure, I'm self-inducing it. So I'm like, let's take this risk and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make it successful or make it happen. And yeah, because I actually, you made a great point because I actually like I bought that farm a year ago, August, gonna be a year. I still haven't
Wow.
opened it. But I had a plan or whatever, and I have to get it going. But like having it there now
Hmm.
is pushing me to like, okay, we got to do it. Right? Compared to somebody else, they may wait and like, oh, I'll buy it when I'm ready to it. And I'm more like, no, let's
Hmm.
buy it now and you'll get there. Because the thing is, a lot of times people wait and wait and like, oh no, I'm not ready. I'm like, you'll never. I don't know if you'll ever be ready. Just do it. You know?
Sure. No, it's a great lesson. And it's something that I feel prevents a lot of people from jumping into business. I think it's a thing that prevents people from getting to the next level in their
Yeah.
business. You know, I feel that this episode we just did really speaks to people working one job, two jobs, putting themselves through college, or they have the business already, but they feel like they're small, they're staying small. You know, what would you say to someone who's listening that's scared to kind of force themselves into that next stage of growth, who is just anxious about making that commitment?
You know, for me, there's been many moments, personal or business life, that you're scared. And I always tell myself, oh, I'm scared. So that means that this might be the right decision. So just do it because on the other side is going to be everything you wanted and or trying to achieve. So when I'm scared, I'm like, okay, maybe this is the right decision. And I get it. Most people, when they're scared, they're like, oh no, let's not do it. Or maybe
Mm,
that's why I shouldn't do it. So I think if they're in a position where, they're struggling or they're just started, uh, I think it's look inward on what is it that you are doing. I think for me, it was always been control. Let go, let go, let go. And every time I let go, that business just went up. It flourished every time I let go. It's like I'm holding it back, you know? And find out what is it that, you know, you want. And again, there isn't anything wrong with having a small business like you mentioned. Someone can have a 15 grand dog walking business and you could be set. You could be okay. Not everybody has to build the biggest thing, right? Uh, so like if you're okay with having your dog walking business or just having one employee, great. You're successful. You made it. You
mm-hmm.
don't have to like, oh my God, I gotta be, this $1 million business or I got to be on Shark Tank or whatever, you know. So I think if you're scared and you want to maybe be on Shark Tank, then great, then do it. Because, I remember, what was it? I'm not sure who said this, but I think it was Elon Musk. He was like, I have a 10-year plan for something, and I tell people, let's do it in 5 years. And even though in
Hmm.
5 years we're not going to be anywhere uh, close to finish, by the time we're at 5 years, we're probably a lot further along because we told ourselves we need to be done.
Yeah.
And if we told ourselves, oh no, we got 10 years to do. So I think just, yeah, just think like that, and I think it's okay to make mistakes. Like if you're afraid of failing, like, okay, what's the worst? You know,
Right.
and I think I learned that with the TikTok thing. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
over. I thought it was over. I'm like, that's it. I remember I'm like, that's it. My life is over. And that was like 3, 4 years ago. So
You're
it's not
still
over.
here.
It's not over. I'm still,
That's good.
yeah.
Amazing. Well, hey, I really appreciate your honesty, your perspective, the lessons you shared, opening up about these very vulnerable moments that really every entrepreneur should just, feel more comfortable about talking about because everyone chasing this dream goes through it. A lot of people out there think that entrepreneurship is this cute thing, owning a business and growing a business,
Mm.
but you got to get yourself ready for a fight. You're going to get kicked in the face. You're going to have negative bank accounts grow in this thing. You're going to push yourself beyond anyone else's limits
Yeah.
for the sake of, chasing your dreams. So, really want to give you kudos for what you've accomplished. Where can our listeners find out more about you and your company and stay connected?
Yeah, go to our Instagram page because our website is under development, the new website. Urban Pups 1. That is a handle at Urban
Okay.
Pups 1.
Is that the number one or the word one?
Number one.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome, my friend. Well, thank you so much for your time and look forward to staying connected with you and your journey.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.